bikes are on fire. Oh, it's Nathan's Knucklehead podcast show for us all. The Knuckleheads unite, big ideas stand tall. Real estate and life with a whimsical twist. Once you tune in, it's a show you won't resist.
All right, cool. Eric, welcome to my humble podcast. It's great to have you on because
So, man. Yeah, thanks for having me.
when I initially wanted to invite you on because you just have this aura of being a cool guy, and I wanted to learn how to be a cool guy as well.
I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely not something I go out and try to do. I'm just me. I don't know how I come across as being cool, but apparently I am. So that's
That's
interesting.
exactly what a cool guy would say, dude. You don't have to try. If you came on and said, I try really hard, then like you would instantly
Yeah.
disqualify yourself. But I knew you wouldn't say that.
Yeah,
Like, do you feel like when you're hanging out with people that you're the coolest guy in the room, or is it like
definitely not at
or when you
all.
think about it afterwards, you're like, I was pretty stylish.
No, never. I grew up being the quiet guy. I was always the shy guy, never talkative, always just kind of like hanging off in the corner, listening to everyone else talk. But I wasn't the loud guy in the room. I wasn't the guy like being boisterous or, too loud. I was always just pretty cool, calm, collected, just held my space and observed, I guess you could say.
Back there in the corner with the camera, like
Yeah.
getting ready for your career.
Yes.
Do you have any siblings?
I do have an older sister. Yeah, she's 2 years older than me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I imagine like a whole household full of siblings and you're just watching all of them all the time, but
Oh no.
that
Yeah.
makes sense. I'm an
I
only
just
child
am
myself.
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
How's that growing up?
It's pretty good. I feel like it, shaped me. I feel like, and this is just the thing. My theory is like if you're an only child and you're a girl, like it's not really noticeable, but when you're like only child and you're a guy, like it kind of like comes out more, like for whatever reason, like the introspection and the neuroticism like hit you a lot harder. Like I think girls just adapt more and get like adopted into the girl cliques
Yeah.
at school or whatever. I don't know.
That makes sense. I
I
get it.
might write an article about that one day or do a documentary with your help.
Yeah. Yeah. Write a book.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but dude,
A memoir.
yeah, exactly. My memoir is at when I'm 80 years old.
Yes.
Um, dude, I appreciate you being on because you got like a cool life, cool story. I saw on social media you're transitioning, going through a big transition, so I want to get to that. Um, I wonder if I can start here and do like a share screen, have you just explain something to me like you're in class.
Okay.
How do you explain this? What is this? Can you
All
see
right.
it?
That video. Yeah. So that is so I was a sponsored BMX rider for about 7 years. I started getting into BMX when I was, I think, like middle school, when I was like 12, 13 years old. And it's just something that in the late 90s, I got into.
Whoops,
Hold
crap.
on.
Yeah,
There we go.
let me
We can pause.
unshare the
Yeah.
screen.
No, it's
Okay,
good.
yeah, no,
So
I'm
yeah.
hearing you.
So that
There's a-
video, so I started BMX riding when I was like in middle school. It's just something that was really popular. I think like growing up in the 90s and late 90s is when extreme sports kind of blew up. It's like when Tony Hawk did the first 900,
Yeah.
like it was all over like MTV Sports and, stuff like that. I just got caught up in the BMX world and all my friends did too. And we just rode our bikes like pretty much every single day. It's all we talked about. It's all we did. It's like we would get magazines and ooh and ah over all the pictures and the photos and, buying VHS tapes of like riding videos, and we just became obsessed with it. So it took over our entire lives, and I did it for a number of years. Starting off, I took my dad's family, like the home movie camera, little like VHS-C, like mini cassette type of camcorder, and just went out and filmed all my friends. It was kind of like think of it's also kind of like the Jackass era where it's like you go out and try to film everything and just try to make funny, goofy videos of you and your friends. So that's what we did. So I kind of got, from an early age, accustomed to filming and editing and what looked cool, just like studying BMX videos and watching how the angles they got and stuff like that. So I definitely had an early adoption into media related stuff, going into BMX. So fast forward quite a few years, rode up until I think I was like 24 when I got sponsored. 23, 24 is when I first got sponsored. And that video specifically was when I first got sponsored for Shadow Conspiracies, a BMX brand. It's all components. And so I rode for them for about 7 years until I hit 30. And it was a fun time. BMX was, again, it was my entire life. It's all I talked about. It's all I ever did. BMX was my entire life. But leading up until when I hit 30, I'm like, I can't really do this forever. I'm getting older. There's all these younger kids coming up. They're super good. They're outperforming me. And I just knew that like, I can't do this forever physically. I'm getting older. I'm going to break something. I have more responsibilities to take care of. So I decided to pick up a camera and start shooting photos. I thought that'd be something fun I could do. I could be a photographer until I was 90 years old, like this is something I could do forever. So picked up my first camera, and, all my best friends were the top pro BMX riders in the industry. So I started taking pictures of them, and one of my first photos got published in a magazine, like probably within a couple months after I got my camera. Photo got published in the back magazine. It was like the last photo. I think it's called like literally like the last photo or the last page or something like that. So it was like the last photo of the spread. And I just like, oh, I think I got something out of this. So I kept doing that. So my pictures got published more in magazines. They got put on posters, T-shirts, like catalogs. So if you went to a bike shop, you'd see my photo on all like the little hanging catalogs on all the bikes. So you can see my photo like 10 different times. So that was super cool. So I thought, okay, well, maybe I can turn this into something. Maybe I can, really turn this into like a business. And I try to get into photography, starting off with like, like graduation photos, family photos, things like that. And it was such a stark difference between like extreme BMX, like out in the field, like crazy stuff happening, to like, telling Timmy to like, all right, move over a little bit. All right, you got to smile. And it was just, it was a night and day difference. And it wasn't something that I was like truly got me excited at the time. It was definitely something that like I had to almost like force to happen. And so it was just something I kind of did on the back burner. It was something that I always kind of just did on the side. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
no, yeah, you mentioned a lot of stuff there too. Wait, first off, when you started talking, you mentioned like growing up in the 90s and watching the tapes and going out and doing stuff. I used to do skateboarding, kind of along the same journey, where I'd watch the Tony Hawk, VHS tapes and try to go
yeah,
outside and mimic a trick. And I never
yeah,
became anywhere near good or professional or anything like that, but kind of the same experience for a lot of 90s kids too. Did you grow up in Arizona, or
yeah.
where were you at?
Born and raised out here, and grew up in like North Phoenix, North Scottsdale area.
Okay. Were you guys hot? Was it hot out there?
Oh yeah, it's Arizona. It's hot. It's very, very hot.
Oh yeah.
Like our record, I think, was in 92. I think our record was like 122 degrees or something like that. So
Nice. Yeah.
I
Was that fun?
you,
BMXing?
you don't get used to it. You just deal with it, and
You
you
become
have to either
stronger.
you go out super early, or you go out when the sun goes down, and then you're fine. If you avoid that initial like midday sun, you can pretty much manage. But there's also this really cool spot in Scottsdale that was called the Wedge. It was like this like double bank that was underneath like a bridge, so you can ride this bank out in the open, but then like when you're done, you go back underneath the shade of the bridge to like cool down. So like that was like our shaded area where we could actually ride. So
Right, right. Did you
it was also on a green belt, so there's like a little bit cooler because there's like a river that would come through there. It's like a golf course, so it was actually a little bit cooler too. So that helped out.
yeah, I was gonna ask, like, if you have a body of water out there too. It's just a different
Yeah,
life from here in California to Arizona. It's just,
yeah,
I just, people ask about California, like, oh, do you go to the ocean every day? I'm like, no, it's not like that. But I know you adapt and manage wherever you're at with, whether it's for good or bad. But dude, you have like this Tony Hawk like type of vibe too. I feel like Stacy Peralta, Tony Hawk, I don't know a lot about the BMX world. That's why I'm comparing you to like
Yeah,
skateboarders. But you guys have like this like
it's very
cool, calm,
similar.
collected.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you guys are like you get such a high on doing tricks that like everything else is just kind of like even keel.
It's just it's a very creative sport. And that's where like there's a lot of creatives come out of that type of sport. I never got into organized sports. Maybe like when I was younger, I was like doing soccer and like a little bit of basketball, but shortly after that, I think that like after fourth grade, I stopped doing basketball, and I just organized sports just never was a thing for me. It wasn't an outlet for me to be like truly be creative. It's constantly like, you need to do this, you need to do that. And it's very like structured. And as someone who has a creative brain, that's like, don't tell me what to do. I want to do it my way. So that's why I think it really appealed, BMX and like skateboarding does. It appeals to a lot of people because it's just, you have this freedom to express yourself and to try new tricks that have never been done before. And you can go against the norm and try to stand out and be different. So
Yeah, I like that too. I mean, growing up as an only child too, not having to have a team or 8 other people to play with, and just
yeah,
being able to go outside and like skateboard or ride a bike or something.
yeah.
Um, that was always appealing to me in particular. So you got a job. You were able to support yourself with your BMX life, and then you got a job transitioning into just taking photographs of other people.
No, so BMX is a very small niche and it doesn't have a lot of money. It doesn't have as much money as skateboarding does. So even as a sponsored BMX rider, like you're making like a couple $100 a month, like maybe.
Okay.
So it's something like that's just you literally do it as a passion project and like just it's fun. You get free parts, so you don't have to pay for that. You get free merch, so you don't have to buy clothes or anything like that. But to live off of like being a professional BMX rider, like you have to be in competitions. You have to be like one of the top like guys out there that are doing like these crazy circus tricks. And I knew it wasn't sustainable for me long term. So that's why I always had a full-time job during the whole process of being like a professional BMX rider, and still always had a full-time job. So
Right. Were you like I know obviously when you're riding the bike on these videos I'm seeing of you on YouTube, which anyone can go and look up. There's a lot of them.
yeah.
Is there you're not filming yourself like when you're riding, but like are you filming other people? Or are these a lot of these shots stuff that you filmed, or is
Yeah,
that
so
completely
two
separate?
of two of my friends are growing up with them, like they're also BMX riders, but they got into videography and like filming. So my friend Ryan Chadwick, shout out to him. He is what kind of like got started. He had his own camera and he just loved filming. He loved the film industry. He loved movies. He loved all that stuff. So he was obsessed with like filming aspect on top of BMX. So he was out filming all of us. But then whenever it came time to filming him or anybody else, like he would always rely on me as being like the second camera guy. Like he could always rely on me on getting the shot. Um, because I guess I just naturally kind of had a good eye or knew what to look for. And so I learned a lot through him. He kind of like showed me the ropes. And then that one that you showed me earlier, that was my friend Bobby Canode. Again, shout out to him. He actually got me sponsored the first time. He was sponsored by a company and recommended me, so I got sponsored through them. And then just hanging out with him and all like my other friend Ryan, just learning so much about filming, editing, all that stuff, like just kind of like uh in the shadows of them, just watching how they do things and how they would come up with ideas. I would always be sitting there with them while they were editing. So I picked up a lot from them just by osmosis.
So what was the balance for you when you start taking photos? Like when did you start like shooting videos? Because um, I know we're skipping some stuff here, but like I met you through Sub2, the real estate community, and then most of what you're doing is I know you're taking photos. You take great photos of Squat Up Summit and et cetera, but you're also filming a lot too.
I think the
Go
question was
ahead, sorry.
about filming.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
did I pick up filming?
Mhm.
Honestly, because I had an understanding of filming, I wasn't a dedicated videographer per se. Also being a sponsored BMX rider, I was very fluent in social media, so I understood like, again, like what looks good, videos, stuff like that. But I didn't really become like a true professional videographer until I started working like for Pace. Um, I Pace hired me off of, so my friend Bobby I mentioned to you, he was freelancing with Pace and Jamil at the time, and they were filming a commercial for Triple Digit Flip, their A&E TV show. And this was Bobby's first national commercial. He's like, this is a big moment for me. So he hit me up and said, hey, would you mind like coming out and taking some behind the scenes photos? I kind of just want to document this just for myself. Just, me behind the camera and the whole thing. And just want to kind of like, would you be down to document it? I'm like, sure, yeah, no problem. So I went out there, met Pace for the first time, like had like no expectations from the shoot at all, other than just to shoot some photos of them doing their thing. And I think it was like on my way, as quick as on my way home, I got a text back from Bobby. It's like, hey, Pace wants to hire you full time. And I was like, full time for what? Like a full time photographer? Like that's just weird to me. It didn't make sense. He's like, well, here's his number. He'll reach out to you and he'll explain more exactly like what he's talking about. And so he reached out to me like, dude, I like your photos are amazing. I love like you were hustling around, like you were killing it. I understand like Bobby's telling me that you're fluent in social media. And at that time, he's like, I'm ready to hire someone that has a good eye and that can start taking over my social media account, because before then he was doing everything himself. So Pace hires me to be his full-time social media guy.
What year is this?
2021. This is like September 2021.
Okay. Do you feel like your work ethic got you the job? Like, was that a big part of it, or was it like just the quality of your photos? Or I'm sure it's both, but
yeah, probably a little bit of both. I've always had a really strong work ethic. I've always like just, since the day I could have a job, my parents, my dad's like, oh, we're taking you out to go get a job now. I don't care what it is, you're getting a job within 2 weeks. Like you got 2 weeks. I will drive you everywhere. I'll drive you to Wendy's. I'll drive you to McDonald's. I'll drive you to Walmart. Like you're going to fill out applications everywhere and just whatever, like you need to get a job within 2 weeks. I was like, okay. And so I learned very quickly from my dad and my mom, like they were both kind of like workaholics, that having a good steady job and just being a hard worker and doing a good job is like, this is what you do. And so I've always had jobs that have lasted years, up until I met Pace. I'd worked at a restaurant for 11 and a half years. I started in the very bottom being like a kitchen staff guy, just like assembling food, working my way up to assistant manager or a kitchen manager, then like assistant manager. Then I was a general manager. So I started up an entire location. So I was a part of all that. And then towards the end of it, I became a bartender. I like demoted myself to become a bartender because it was a lot less responsibility and I made more money actually. So because bartenders make really good tips. So up until then, like, yeah, I just worked my ass off. And I think people really appreciated my work and they could always rely on me, like on every job that I've always had. So yeah, I've always had a really strong work ethic. So I think that's something that I think probably Pace picked up on pretty quickly when he noticed, how I was hustling around and wasn't there to chit chat or anything. I just was there doing my job.
All right, no, that's cool. So you were with Pace 3.5 years. Is that,
Yeah.
am I got that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you, that's one of the probably most crazy jobs you could have, because I know you've traveled around the country. You've
Yeah.
been around thousands and thousands of, sub-2 students and whoever shows up at these meetups. Saw you at a meetup out here in California one time. And so, I mean, that's got to be crazy. Like, how would you describe that?
Yeah, I think it takes a very special person to be able to keep up with Pace. Like I think I was the rare exception. I don't think, because I'd be hanging out with people with him for the whole day and they'd be like taking Advil by the end of the day. They'd be so burnt out. They're like, oh my gosh, Pace is just, he's nonstop. He works all day. He's constantly doing new things. He's out there hustling and it's a lot to keep up with. But again, like my work ethic, I'm able to hang. I could work, 14, 16-hour days with him. Like when we're traveling, it's long days. I think my longest day was like, I worked a 20-hour day one time. So, yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed the action. I enjoyed being out there in the field, whether we're going to properties, whether we're going to meetups, whether we're going to events. I loved being there in the moment and capturing the magic that's happening,
That's crazy. Do you drink coffee or energy drinks or anything on days like that, or? You just
No,
man up.
never.
Nice. Did you
I
ever
only
get?
drink. I never drink energy drinks. I only drink coffee, but I drink coffee at night is because when I'm home, I have a problem with like falling asleep too early. Like my wife's a night owl, so she
Oh,
tries to get me
nice.
to hang with her and watch movies, and I'm like passed out in the first like 20 minutes of a movie. So I typically drink coffee like at night, which is like not like most people, but
No, that makes sense.
when I'm out and about, I can stay up all night. Like when I was working as a bartender, I was getting home at 3, 4 in the morning sometimes. So um, I have no problem. Once when I'm out and about, I can be up all day. So
That's crazy.
I can just go.
Dude, for me, I'm tired like all day, but like as soon as it turns nighttime, like I'm just even no matter how much I train my body, like I just like perk up.
Yeah.
Like the moon comes out and I'm like
Yeah.
turn into Wolfman.
Yeah.
But
It
I
kind of
feel like
resonates in the BMX world too. So like to put in perspective, when I would go to like a skate park with all my friends, they would be like hanging out, chit chatting, talking. They'd all be riding, but I would just be like going in laps. I would just be the only one out there just like constantly. I wouldn't stop. I would just be so obsessed and just like constantly go, 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 go. And my friends would always make fun of me. It's just like you're like an Energizer bunny. So
that's so cool. I like that.
yeah,
I mean that's really cool. That's a good trait to have. I had a theory. I feel like not getting addicted to caffeine ever, like not having coffee or like energy drinks, like growing up. Like I feel like that helps your brain not like get tired. Obviously Pace has like, I don't know him, you know him, but just the vibe I get is that he just has a great work ethic, but like he never
yeah,
got addicted to caffeine.
yeah.
And
He's a true extrovert. He gets energy from being around people. Like the more
right,
people he's around, he could go all day.
right, yeah. And I feel like just being reliant on like substances and stuff, like it kind of like trains your brain to like get more
Yeah,
tired. And, like you get that I don't know, that withdrawal effect.
yeah,
Even when you're off of it and you've been off of it for a while because you grew up in
yeah,
those formative years, like having
yeah,
I had soda and coffee even when I was a kid. So um, that's cool to hear. That's admirable. I like to hear, people working hard and staying up for 20-hour shifts. That's amazing. And like it too, I used to go to the skate park too. I'm like, dude, I'm not here to hang out. Like, I'm not as a 20-hour shift guy like you, but like when it's time to ride, it's time to ride. Like that's you're there. You're at the skate park. You're wherever. It's time to have fun
yeah,
and do your thing.
yeah.
So I'm just curious. You've been around the country. Like, do you have any? What's your favorite place in the country? And what's your favorite place you visited in your travels?
Um, let's see. Well, Montana's pretty cool. That's where Pace lived for the whole last summer. Montana's
Right.
pretty epic. We went up to Alaska for a few days. Never been to Alaska, so that was pretty cool. Um, just like these big, massive landscapes that, like Arizona's got mountains and stuff, but not like Montana does, or not like Alaska does. It's just like this vast, massive space. So it was pretty cool. And also being away from the dry desert heat, was also nice.
Right.
And being around moisture and lakes and stuff like that. So those are always great. I really like North Carolina. I really have never been to North Carolina, but the people there are absolutely amazing. Like everyone's so nice there. Walking down the street, people just like greet you, and everyone's so polite. And it's just like,
Uh,
what is this place?
yeah.
A little bit too much trees out there. It's like very, very green to the point where you can't see when you're driving down the freeways. It's just like everything's just trees, which is great. But I'm like, I do like to see like the space of like Arizona because it's vast. You can see for miles and miles. So,
Right. Like
but
the what do you call it? The having stuff a little bit different. The
yeah,
like some contrast or whatever.
yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
you have an artistic eye too. So is that one of the main things that you notice is like the greenery when you're in an area? Like, what do you notice anything special like when you're in a new environment? And
Oh yeah,
y- okay, yeah, because I'll give you an example too. Like when I went to Florida first couple times, I was like, I don't know what it is about here, but like it just feels weird. It feels like I'm in like a toy box and like someone's like gonna look down at me. Because I just feel like you're driving down the road and you're driving, and I realized like there's no mountains here. There's nothing. There's no like it's just flat. You're in a
yeah,
swamp, and I
yeah.
just feel like without the mountains and that contrast or that curvature,
hmm
like I'm
Yeah, we would notice that when driving through Texas a few times because Texas is pretty flat. There's a lot of like really flat plains, and you'd be driving. I think we like drove from like Dallas to Houston or something like that, and it's like you don't even know where you're at. It's hard because there's no like, landscape, like, what's it called? Not like a monument, but like
Landmarks or something.
yeah, like a landmark. You can like, all right, like past that mountain and then this valley, and like it's just flat, and you just feel like you're on the same road for all eternity.
Yeah, I know. It gives me an eerie feeling. I feel like unsettled is the
Yeah.
way I describe it. Like California, like I walk out here, there's like the mountains over there and then like the ocean's over there.
Yeah.
And so I like have, those landmarks.
A
And
sense of like movement. You can sense yourself like moving
yeah,
through, when you're driving through. But yeah, when it's all flat, you just feel like, are we going anywhere?
yeah, diversity of the landscape.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, Montana looks amazing. All the photos. North Carolina is a place I really want to visit too. I don't know about living on the East Coast because I feel like they get hit with hurricanes a lot. But
Yeah. I would never.
what are your
And
thoughts? What are your
the
thoughts on?
humidity.
Yeah, 100% too. What are your thoughts on San Diego? Hit me straight. Just give me your honest thoughts.
San Diego's great. I love San Diego. I
Thank
mean,
you.
I've only been there like really a handful of times, and never like have been there truly enough to like truly experience all of San Diego. But I've been there enough to where I'd come in. It's great weather. It's good vibes, good food, good restaurants. Yeah, like San Diego's always good to go through. So
Nice.
got a good BMX scene out there too.
Nice. Yes, I feel like you should move out here. That's
Yeah.
just my opinion. You seem like a San Diego guy.
My wife and I would definitely love to live in California at some point, but we got to get our money up first. It's very expensive to live out there.
Okay, well, that's where the real estate and your new business comes in too.
Yeah, yeah.
So I want to get to that in a second. I feel like there's just so much that you could talk about. Like, you've had a crazy job and you've seen a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just speculating here because of social media posts, and you're always following Pace, and I follow Pace and I follow your social media, and you're always in a different part of the country. Is there any like special, anything like the most specialist events or like a special event that sticks out to you throughout these 3.5 years?
I think, well, Squad Up last year was pretty awesome. I think it's pretty epic. Mainly just because it was an event that was all, or mainly like sub 2 people, like from Pace's world, or like either sub 2 students or gay to student, whatever. And so it just felt like a huge get together, like a huge family reunion. And the difference between his event and others, because of that, everyone was so welcoming and so inviting, versus a lot of other real estate meetups I've been to. It's very like, I'm just here for business. What can I get out of this? And they show up, they take notes, and they leave. It's like there isn't this like community kind of like camaraderie going on in the back end. Like there's these little pockets here and there, but I think just Pace teaches people to really connect with anybody and everybody. And so like that vibe is just instilled in that whole event. So that was pretty epic. Besides that, I've been to Clever Summit was one of the bigger events I went to at the beginning, hanging out with Pace or working with Pace.
Are you going to Squad Up?
Yeah, I'll be at Squad Up. That's in
This
like
year?
yeah, it's like in a month from now.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, end of March.
You
I'll
went
be
to
there.
you went to 10X too. What year was
Yeah.
that?
10X was, I think it was like 2 years ago. Pace and Jamil were gonna be like a guest speaker. They were speaking on stage just for like a few minutes. They had like a little window. But it's funny because they wouldn't allow media in their arena at all. They're really strict on like, well, we have our own media team. Like you can't like bring your videographer and stuff like that. So Pace and Jamil went to check in, went through the metal detectors, and they're like, all right, guys, well, I guess I'll just go hang out at the hotel bar or something and grab like a snack or something. And I sat there for a few minutes. I'm like, I can't not just sit here. Like there's got to be a way in. And I saw this guy walking up with like a studio equipment. Like it was the big black rolling cases, and he's wearing all black and had like a microphone on. I'm like, okay, that's staff. I'm wearing all black. I have my backpack on and I have my camera in my hand. I think I could just literally just walk in behind him and no one would notice. So I tested it out. I walked up. He went up straight up to where the metal detectors were. He went around the metal detectors. They like waved him in, and I just walked in right behind him as if I was with him. And no one even questioned me.
Nice.
No one looked up for a badge. No one they didn't scan me for like the metal detector, and I walked straight in. And
That's cool.
so that's how I was able to sneak into 10X. So if you guys wanted to get into real estate events, just wear all black and carry a camera, and they'll think you're media.
Nice. Were you able to like film or record anything, or did you not dare to
No,
do that?
well, no, I did, but unfortunately, by the time I got in, they were already done with their speech, and like everyone was like pouring out of the stadium because it was like lunchtime. So everyone was like just pouring out. So, but I was able to meet up with Pace and Jamil and film some stuff and take some photos of them like in the arena, of them at 10X. We were able to go back up on stage and take some photos of them like at the event, so they could, show that they were there, since I wasn't there to take the photos of them actually on stage. So we went back up and did that. So that was cool.
No, that's amazing. I went to 10X in 2021, I think. I think it was 2021. Where was yours at? Was it in Miami?
Miami. Yeah.
Dang, I wonder if I was at 2020. You went in
Yeah.
2022, right?
I think it was 2022. It had to have been.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think I was in 2021. I was just trying to remember. But anyways, that's cool. Well, you had a really crazy job. And I imagine like it was pretty fun. But what made you decide to not do it anymore? I mean, this is pretty recent, so this is still fresh. Let me know if I'm peeling off a scab or something I shouldn't be peeling off.
No, not at all.
No, I'm
Yeah,
joking,
just
but
when I first started working for Pace, one of the first things he said to me, like probably within the first week that I started working for him, he said, I want you to outgrow me one day. He's like, I don't want that to happen, but I want you to get so successful to the point where you start your own videography business or you do whatever. Like, I want you to be making like hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And so like whatever it takes for you to like to get there, like that's where I want you to go. Like, I just want you to succeed. Like, I want you to grow with me. And so you can outgrow me and do your own thing. So that was something that he said since like day one. He was always very positive and always wanting me to grow. So fast forward about, another thing too is my wife worked for Pace as well. She was hired. So the very first day that Pace hired me, I had like a trial period because I was really nervous to leave my bartending job of so long that, if I walked away, I wouldn't get my bar shifts back, that they'd be stolen. So he gave me like a 30-day trial period. He's like, well, how about you just work for me during the day and you go work at the bar at night and we'll just see how it goes. So the very first day I get there, my wife had done some research on Pace, like, who's this Pace guy? And she looked at his social media and like, oh, this looks so disorganized. It's a mess. Like, we got to clean this up. So she made a little video showcasing like what his page looks like now. And then she photoshopped out all the little like squares on his Instagram to like what they could look like way more polished and professional. She's like, before you guys film anything, show him this video and just so you guys have a good game plan. I was like, okay, got it. So I sit down with Pace, very first day of my actual trial period, and I show him this video. And he's like, dude, this is amazing. Can I hire your wife too? I was like, what? Really? I mean, I guess. He's like, what's her number? I'll call her right now. So he calls her up and he hires her like there basically on the spot. It's like, I don't know what I exactly need you for, but like, I feel like I just need like a female's perspective to like oversee the brand and like the vision, making sure everything like looks clean. So could you work for me for like 6 hours a week? And she's like, okay, yeah, sure. And then my wife, being the person that she is, she just loves to solve problems and fill holes and systems, processes. How can we do this? How can we do that? And so she ended up becoming his director of operations. So she ran his entire media company. She did all the onboarding, the hiring, the systems, the processes. She ran the entire media side. So it was like at the beginning, there's about 4 or 5 of us, like we're all spread out remotely. And then she brought everyone to come in-house. So she built up an entire media team in-house here in Arizona. And so her and I worked together for that entire period. So part of it was, I think, working next to your spouse so closely in the same job, and it's something that is as busy as working for Pace is and everything he does, can be very overwhelming for your relationship as well. So that was definitely something that was taking a strain on our relationship. Like, our marriage was suffering like immensely because I was constantly gone, constantly out, constantly working, and she was doing the same. She was running his entire thing. So she was constantly working, constantly. So on our days off, that's all we would talk about. I would talk about work, talk about, what problems we were having. How can we do this? How can we do that? And just like so overwhelming. And it just took a toll on us. So that was something that definitely was a part of it. And
I
then
imagine
also,
so. That's crazy. I mean,
yeah.
like I know you guys are. How many days of the like month were you not in Arizona?
Well, it would vary because Pace's schedule is just, it's so all over the place. I was
Okay,
basically
right.
on call all the time. It's just like whenever he needed me or whenever there's an event this weekend, let's go. And so there was no schedule for us, for my wife and I. There's no date nights on Saturday. I didn't take a vacation the entire time I worked for Pace. I think we went somewhere like maybe once, but um, I think that was when we went to Disneyland with Pace. So still like
Yeah, yeah.
a work trip. So yeah, it was a lot. And yeah, it just, yeah, put it short. It was a lot.
No, I imagine that. I know. It sounds like it's kind of a mixed bag. Like it's something that he said you want it. He wants you to grow out of it eventually. It sounds like something that like you're just not sustainable for a married guy that is for anybody to be at that speed for that long, right? It sounds like it was kind of like there was a maybe an expiration date like already
Yeah.
in the future for
But
that. Oh,
part of that is on me though. I'm not going to say that like my job is the reason why or anything like that. I am such a dedicated person. When I work somewhere, I give it my all and I become like obsessed with it. And so like I was neglecting like my wife personally. So it wasn't necessarily the job that was always taking me away. Is that because I was just in the depths of like constantly trying to like make new edits, come up with new ideas, and constantly working on all the content and working with the team helping them with edits and this, that, and the other. It took up like a lot of my time. But again, like with actual travel, the most time I traveled was this last summer. That was when Pace went up to Montana and he started doing the day with Pace was every single week. So I was going up to Montana every single week for like 3 months straight. So
I
it's
mean,
like,
I wanted to ask you about that too.
yeah, so it's
It
like
sounds it
4 days up, 3 days back, 4 days up, 3 days back. And so when I came back home to kind of like get back in the swing of things, it was getting ready to pack up and leave again. So
Yeah, it sounds like the kind of the same thing that like consumed you like with the job. And I know you say it wasn't the job, but it's like the same thing that got you hired was your
yeah,
dedication to it.
yeah,
And I don't know about you, but like I used to do short films and stuff. I feel like everything you've done professionally, I've done like minimally, like so like I'm kind of like the mini Eric. That's what I call myself.
yeah,
But I used to do, like short films and stuff, and like you just kind of like stretch out the time like it takes to do a task because I think for creative people, like you want everything to be perfect. And so there has to be like a deadline. But if the deadline is like, if you're always on to the next project, it kind of feels like maybe that's a little bit of what happened is like,
yeah.
you finish one thing and you got to move on to the next thing. But like you're so invested in something because it's creative. It's not like doing numbers on a chalkboard. It's like something that's like immersive and you want it to be the best.
That was a personality trait too that I had to deal with. I mean, even like when I first met my wife, when we first started dating, I told her I'm like, BMX comes first, then it's work, then it's family, and then it's you. Like I straight up told her that with like when I first started dating her,
Oh,
and she's
wow.
like, "Damn, okay." I was like, "Well, I'm just being honest." And because it was like BMX was my entire life, and then work was very important to me. Like I need to be working hard. I need to like have a job, and so um, it took me a very long time to start making my relationship a priority because like in my family as well. So like my relationships with my family and my wife like suffered immensely. So kind of like gearing towards the end of the summer in Montana when I was working so much, I was gone. My dad, was it 2 years ago? He was diagnosed with leukemia. And so he had been suffering with that for a while. He ended up like getting like 99% remission. He was like basically like pretty much done with it. But then at that time, his kidneys were starting to fail. So his kidneys were going down the tubes, and he was struggling a lot with that. So me working so much, wasn't able to like spend like a whole lot of time with him. And then leading up to when it got really bad, I was up in Montana getting ready to film for community camp. This last summer, there were two community camps, and for the very first one, it was like and within the next like day or two, I was already up in Montana getting ready for it. And I get a call from my dad saying like, "Hey, I just went to the doctor and they said like, if I don't go to the hospital right now, I probably won't make it till like Tuesday." And this was like Saturday night. And I was like, "Holy shit." Okay. So My wife was able to rush him. She was able to pick him up, rush him down to the hospital to go get taken care of. And I had to tell Pace, I'm like, I can't stay here. I got to go home like ASAP. I got to catch the next flight home. So I took the next flight home, went straight to meet up with my dad and meet up with him. And it was, stage 5 kidney failure. And there's a process called dialysis. I don't know if you're aware of that, but it's basically like you filter out your blood because your kidneys aren't doing it. They have to take your blood out, put it through a filter, and then put it back into your body.
Right.
So that was something that he was struggling with because it was just extremely painful. And he was not all about that at all. There's another procedure that's similar, but it's where they like basically pump fluid into your like abdomen, and then they like it filters out that way. It's like some weird some way to do it, and that was way more intensive. It was, you have to do it for 8 hours a day, 7 days a week for the rest of your life. And he's just like, absolutely not. Like, I can't. That's just too much. The level of sterilization, you have to wear gloves, you have to like wipe everything down, like alcohol, swabbing, everything. You have to wear a mask. You have to turn your AC off because like even the dust particles in the air can get on like this little thing and like infect it. So he was just like, I'm so tired because he was just so sick for such a long time. He's just like, I can't do this anymore. So he decided to like, I'm just going to ride this out. So it's going to be, probably a couple months, maybe. In that short amount of time, I realized like I wasn't hanging out with him as much as I should have, or I could have. And it was really hard for me to come to terms with what was happening too. So even while he was going through that, I went to the second community camp. That's when we went up to Alaska right afterwards. And I was still traveling, going out and about because, I'm so dedicated to my job and like to getting the job done. I didn't want to let Pace down like at all. And again, it consumed me, and it made me realize like I need to make sure that my family and my relationships are a priority now. So that's after my dad passed, that's something it really shook me up. It really made me come to terms with things and made me look at life a lot differently. Like he was 33 years older than me. So I looked at I'm like, okay, what do I want the next 33 years of my life to look like? What do I want to achieve? What do I want to accomplish? What can I do? And working just as a W-2 and working as much as I was, and not being able to have the freedom to like take time off whenever you want as an entrepreneur. It's like, yeah, you work more, but there is some freedom and flexibility with that. And so that was another really, really huge, it was the main reason why I decided to leave. I was like, I need to, even if I take a pay cut, even if I don't make any money, like family is all that matters. And so like, I just need to just rip the Band-Aid off and just go all in on myself and just bet on myself and build something for myself and be able to have more time with my wife and with my family and stuff like that. So I think that's like the root cause of everything. It was just really my dad's passing that really woke me up to wanting to become an entrepreneur and start something on my own.
Yeah, it sounds like your dad and your family like really impacted your life too, and like made you who you are and made you the person that was able to qualify to work these crazy jobs, to be so entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
You mentioned in your Instagram post a while back when you first announced this that you come from a line of entrepreneurs too. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, there's an old shoe store back in I think it's Kentucky. Is a Bahlman shoe store that they owned. They used to own a shoe store, and it's funny because my last name used to have two N's on it. Is Bahlman with two N's, and you can see if you look in the photo, there's hand painted Bahlman with two N's on the window. But at the time, they had a big neon light up above the entrance, and those things were super expensive back then. So the theory is that they chopped off one of the ends to save a little bit of money, and that's how our name changed down to one end, is because just to save a little bit of money. Like, oh, we don't need the second end anyway, so let's just chop that off. So,
right, that's funny. If I can, I prepared for this moment. If I can break the mood up a little bit, make it on a little
Yeah.
lighter note. Your name Bahlman got me thinking,
Uh-huh.
right? So I wanted to think what an Eric Bahlman would look like
Oh my gosh.
if you were a ball man. That's what
Oh, I
that's
got that
you.
all through growing up. Bald man or bald man or yeah,
Yeah,
any
yeah. The big baller man.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, don't drop the ball, man. And then I got one here too. If
My God,
you
that's
were a little bit
hilarious.
grown up, yeah.
Wow.
And then just because I was playing around, this would be like if I was you. This would be if Nathan Ballman.
I love that.
So,
That's
so
hilarious. Oh my gosh.
yeah, so just
That's
think
too
about it.
good.
Yeah. Um, cool. Um, so dude, you're got your own business going now. Like, how's it feel? Like, what do you what are your goals? Like, where do you want to be at the end of this year, 5 years, 10 years from now?
I don't know. It's like kind of sky's the limit. I just literally just jumped out, not knowing exactly where I was going or what exactly it was going to lead me down. I knew I wanted to be in the video industry in some sense because I love it. I have a passion for it, and it's a creative outlet for me too. Um, so I was just kind of doing the same thing. I want to reach out to people who, need videography work, whether it's so like YouTube content, whether they're creating like a course or something like that, whether they're having like a lot of people are doing masterminds or like 2-day workshops and stuff like that, or like webinars, things like that. So I really want to help people either host those, so I can host those and stream those live, or record them, so they can create a course and have that like long term, or create YouTube content. I still do social media stuff, but I kind of want to veer away from that a little bit just because it's just this never ending cycle of just like short form. It's like churn and burn. And you never
Yeah.
really get to like sit in the moment and like respect like what you just created. Versus like long form, it's a little bit more impactful, a little bit more meaning to it. And yeah, there's just like what was I gonna say? I just want to focus on something that creates a bigger impact for people, because social media is great and all, but creating something that can change people's lives, like creating a course that can actually help them, like teach them, or like hosting like like a live event or a local mastermind where like people come out to meet up and meet in person, one-on-one. I would really like to focus on that type of stuff too. So.
No, that's amazing, man. Is your wife gonna be working with you too, or?
Yeah, so she has her own business. So she's been on her own since last March. She started her own company. She's essentially like a fractional COO. So if anyone out there has their own company or their own business and they're looking to scale, they're already successful and they're looking to get to the next point, that's where she really comes in. She helps organize your team, your systems, your processes, figures out what you're doing wrong, what can you improve, how can we change this, how can we implement that? Are you using this software? No. Okay, well, we should start using that because it helps with X, Y, and Z. So she's, again, as of running Pace's brand for 3 years. Before that, she helped open up business's first 3 franchises. She wrote like a 300-page employee manual. So she's well versed in like all this stuff. Even right now, she's working with another client who has like 600,000 subscribers on YouTube, and turned his business around. So like last year, I think he did like 1 million in sales, and this year we did a webinar a month ago, and he did 1 million over the weekend. So that's the kind of impact that she can really have to get the team together, get them organized, get all the systems and process put together, and just really like, okay, how do we get you to have the CEO do the thing that they're best at, like go out and speak, go out and promote, go out and teach people. Let me run the back end and let me get everything cleaned up and organized while you keep doing your thing. And then that's where we can like actually make the change. So yeah, there's a lot of overlap with what we do. So she's going to help them, and then she'll be able to facilitate me. And like, well, if you need a video guy or a media guy, like my husband does all that stuff. So she's going to be helping out with them, working with them on monthly or like a 3-month basis, like every 3 months. She's going to be working with them like in like these certain blocks as much help as they need, until she can basically hand the baton off. Like, okay, I got everything cleaned up. I got everything organized. You know what to do now. Let me hire the right person to kind of like hand the baton off, and then you just take it and you guys run with it. So I can move on to the next client and help them like and scale their business. She loves startups. That's like her bread and butter. She thrives in startup environments. So
That's amazing. That's huge
yeah.
value add too. She's like sounds like the Gordon Ramsay of
Yeah.
cleaning up someone's business, just goes in there. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's huge because I don't, for me, that's always like the most intimidating part is like, how do I make money off this? How do I organize and get organized? I feel like I'm a kind of a creative person too. I feel like that's more so that I am than business. So I want to ask you about a little bit about that too. Like, how do you like manage the two? Because, you know, I guess they're both can be creative in ways, but business is a lot more about the numbers, and creativity is more about like what you see with your eyes and, the inherent value of something rather than the monetary value. I don't know if you had anything to say on that too, or if I had a question on that, but does that make sense?
Yeah. I think, I don't know, as a visionary, I just, not even a visionary, more of a creative. I really focus on how do I make it look good? And I've never ever been someone to focus on like, okay, how much money can we make? I guess I want to do the job first and let it pay and like it's the work show. And so like my value is always first. And then I worry about the dollar signs afterwards. So I think that's, for me, it's always a priority. How good of a job can I do? How can I make the best outcome? And then I guess that's where I can start charging more and more for my services because I know that I put out a quality product.
Right. Yeah, there's so many questions I can ask. This is just a point of interest for me personally. It's like just knowing the creative and the left and right side of the brain coming together
Yeah.
and these sorts of things. It's pretty cool that you seem like you're managing that pretty darn well. Who is like your ideal client that you're looking for? Like someone that's looking to start their own course, someone that's like got a business
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. Someone who's already established. It's a little bit harder to work with someone who's like a brand newbie, who's not used to being in front of the camera or doesn't have anything. It's hard for them to get hit the ground running because they're just starting. There's so much for them to learn. It's hard for me to like teach basic, social media skills or like business skills, like when it comes to marketing and using video for that. So I definitely want to work with higher level people who are already somewhat established and are just looking to get to that next point. Who are looking to, okay, how do we take this to the next level? How do we get to the next point? And that's where my wife and I are really work well together because we just want to help people scale and we want to help them grow and get to that point. With everything that we've learned over the past 3 years, just with Pace alone, everything that we've learned in businesses before that, we just want to use our skills and our knowledge to help anybody as much as we can. So yeah, that would be our ideal client.
Yeah. No, I imagine the skills and the amount of knowledge you've got from the rooms you've been in has been priceless, and I'm sure you'll take that and use that in what you're doing now. And you're doing I saw some dope headshots that you're doing to people, and you did a cool like explanation of like why a headshot's so important. And here's an old one, and here's a new one.
Yeah.
And then you're doing video as well too. So
Try to break
that's
things
pretty
down
awesome.
for people. Like there's a reason why I do things, or there's a reason why you should do certain things. Same with my wife. Like that's why she helps people out so well. It's like, are you focusing on this? Well, no, that's stupid. It's like, like a photo of yourself. Like, oh, that's nothing. It's like, no, it's actually, it can be everything. It's the first photo that people see of you on your LinkedIn page, on your website, on your business card, on your social media. It's a very important thing for people to see. You want to come across as someone who is confident and knows what they're doing and looks like they're put together. And if your photo is just a selfie, like bad lighting and it's grainy, or it's like there's like you're with your family and it's like cropped in so you can like see someone else's shoulder or something like that. That I really want to help explain to people why it's important to focus on media. And it's a skill that can transcend all of your businesses. Once you learn marketing and social media, the social media is a marketing tool. Once you understand that, you can use that across all your businesses, whether you own a real estate business or you own a laundry shop or a car wash, anything. Understanding social media is extremely important because it is marketing. And without marketing, like you don't have a business if you're not marketing yourself. So marketing is extremely important. And if you don't understand how important social media is, then you're going to be stagnant. So
Right. No, it's very applicable to everything too. That's really cool. I wanted to show here you have a little website right now, right? It
Mhm.
is Work with Eric. And so you
Yeah,
can enter in your
my wife
stuff
just threw
here.
that together for me really quick. Just a little quick questionnaire. I need to build it out fully. I still need to go through all my old footage and stuff and make like kind of like a highlight of everything that I've done. But that's just a quick landing page that we threw together. So
No, that cool. It's cool. It works. It gets you what you're looking for. So you're still, it looks like you're still doing real estate or lending, right? And then you got the videography/photography. And I saw you do a live stream. We already talked about the social media, but I saw you do a live stream recently for someone, right?
yeah,
A live event.
yeah,
So
yeah.
they
That
can come
was
here. And I got this link from your Instagram page. So if anyone wants
yeah,
to work with you, I
mhm.
imagine they can go there.
Yeah.
Um,
BahlmanMedia.com.
yeah. And I mean, is there anything else? I feel like I can talk to you for hours, man. Like, I didn't even get into like what you're doing with, real estate from now on. Like, what's that going to look
Yeah,
like? Are
real
you
estate. I
still,
mean, I was literally texting someone yesterday. They had a assisted living property in Paris, Illinois. This big property, and trying to find a buyer for it. So trying to wholesale that. Another property out 30 minutes north of Austin, Texas. There's a property that the guy is going through a relocation. Like he needs to move like ASAP, and he's just trying to get rid of the property. So he's willing to essentially like almost just hand the keys over. And he's like, I just take over the payments. I don't want to deal with like trying to sell this because the market's so crazy right now. No one wants to spend the amount of money to get a 7% interest rate. His interest rate was 2.99. So it's a great interest rate. And I'm just going to try to find a buyer for that as well. And lending is like 2 weeks ago, I was trying to do transactional funding, EMD deal. I was trying to fund that one, but that ended up falling through. But still active, trying to do that on the side as much as I can. So I'm juggling my media company, helping my wife build hers, doing real estate. It's never ending. It's always something new.
right? Well, I imagine you don't have to like spend too much on like outreach and marketing. You have a lot of connections
I've
in
met a lot of people
the
over the
world.
years. Yeah. So that's been helpful.
So you have to spend hours and hours away
Yeah.
from your business to focus on
Yeah.
that. That's really cool. Oh, and
Yeah.
if you ever need a cool gator lens, I got a cool connection. I can let you know about. Uh,
Okay.
Again, like 20% interest on loans. So, man, I feel like we can go on for hours, but
Yeah.
I don't want to keep you for super
No, it's
long.
all good.
Yeah, all right. No, it's cool. I'm just trying to wrap it up. Like I'm trying
Yeah.
to be a cool podcast guy. It's my second episode, so
All right.
I feel like there would be a cool like band music starting to play right now.
I like it.
But is there anything else that people need to know about you to like get you going? Like anything else that could
No,
be
I
helpful
mean,
to know?
yeah, if you're ever interested in anything that I talked about earlier about if you're wanting to scale your business, reach out to me. I can get connected with my wife. If you're looking to create content, if you're looking to host a webinar, a live stream, a meetup, hosting a course. Again, my wife put together courses before so she can help structure it all out and I can help document it. Um, Also, social media strategy. I also offer strategy sessions. So if you want to check in with me weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, you can check in with me. I can do a full analysis on your page. I can look at your bio. I can look at your tagline, the videos that you're posting, because once again, the reason why my wife chose to do that video for Pace at the beginning is because you need to have a strategy before you start. You can't just go out, so you can go out there and just film anything and everything. But without the proper strategy, you're kind of just going into it blindly. So I really want to teach people the importance of going in with a strategy and an intention, and who are you speaking to? Who is your audience? Who's your avatar? Like, why are you on social media anyway? Are you here just to post pictures of your food and what you're doing throughout the day? Or are you actually trying to bring in clients and bring in like a new network of people? Well, you have to start talking about exactly what you do and why you do it. So that's something I definitely want to try to help teach people and help fix their social media online presence. So
That's something I feel like I could use pretty soon here. So we'll be talking. That's really cool. It'd be really cool. A video idea too is like you go in through someone's old social media and like do a before and after and be like, here's what's wrong, here, and then
Yeah.
like
Yeah. We do a
here's what we're
full
gonna do.
audit. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool, like how to instructional thing. But I feel like you should do your own course, man. Like you guys have enough knowledge, you can film yourself
Yeah.
on
Maybe
this.
one day. I'm sure that will maybe come down the road. But first, we're just trying to provide as much help as we can and kind of get things going. Yeah. Maybe at some point, I'm sure we'll get there. But right now, we're just focusing on how can we help you and how can we help as many clients as we can. So.
Yeah. All right, Eric. It was great talking to you. People can reach out to you on your Facebook, Instagram, your new brand spanking new landing page.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Really appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you too, man. This is great.
Yeah.
It's good talking
Best
to
of luck
you.
with you. Yeah, on your new business. Here's the little
All right.
clapping sounds. Can you tell me if you can hear these clapping sounds? All right, it's not working. I'll add it in post.
Okay.
Clapping sounds. All right. All right,
right.
take care, man. Yeah.
All right. See you, man.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.